Hello there, it's Brendan Wrongway Corrigan with another instalment of Wrongway's Columbia Cast. Now, the coronavirus pandemic, sorry to mention that again, but what can we do? Well, it has utterly changed the work life of many people. Some are still coming to terms with the reality that their previous employment may never return and are weighing up their options. A few others, a minority we'll say, have acted quickly, seeing opportunities in the crisis. Today's guest certainly falls into that latter category. With her own international travel company, Laura Marquez Botero's business was basically wiped out by coronavirus. However, whilst she's had to ditch travelling the globe with her clients, I hear you all playing that small violin, being grounded in Bogotá saw her find inspiration for a business that has, quite literally, flourished on the doorstep of the city's wealthier folk, and we'll find out about that in due course. But Laura, welcome to Wrongway's Columbia Cast.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's a real honor to be here.
And we're honoured to have you here, Laura. But before we get into this rather cryptic introduction about this business that's flourished on the doorstep of Bogotá's wealthier people, for some background, can you tell us a little bit about your travel company that, well, completely, I guess, pushed to one side with coronavirus?
Yeah. Well, my background, I graduated from law school 5 years ago. I practiced as a lawyer for almost 2 years, but I've always had this really strong passion and interest for traveling and other cultures. So I kind of knew deep down that at some point in my life I wanted to do something related with travels. I didn't quite know what it was, but I could feel it. And at the beginning, but back then, like 3 years ago, I thought about starting my own travel blog and find ways to monetize it. But as I started to do some research about it, I realized that there were a lot of travel blogs, and well, also I have to admit that I had a bit, actually a lot of fear of being judged by what or how I wrote my posts. So I kept looking for...
I feel your pain on that, Laura. I feel your pain. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if you felt this, but Colombia is the Colombian society is very judgmental. So that was really hard.
Well, look, I think pretty much anybody is these days, especially when they can hide behind a name on social media or whatever and send you messages without meeting you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get a lot of attacks, but it goes with the territory, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. So I kept looking for other approaches, and I realized that maybe my experience and my expertise in traveling, since I've been to 76 countries, I don't know many Colombians that have done that, so I have to give some credit to myself. I thought this could be a good asset. So 3 years ago, I started my own travel agency called Travel Round. And what I offered was a very personalized service, which was like the main difference between my agency and a conventional travel agency. Plus, the added value was that most of the times I only used to sell trips to countries that I have been and experienced myself, which was very attractive for my clients because they had the certainty that I knew what I was talking about, and they also knew what to expect from the destination based on the experiences that I used to share with them. And to be honest, the business was going really, really well. It was starting to take off. I was very satisfied with the results, but then Corona came and the rest is history.
Yeah, I just want to ask though about the 76 countries, because, well, they say you shouldn't ask a lady her age, but I won't ask your age. But if you graduated from law school about 5 years ago, I'd say you're not quite 30 if I'm correct in saying that. But so I'm right. Okay, 76 countries. So you obviously started traveling from a very young age. Have you parents that encouraged you to travel, or where did that inspiration come from, or the means to do it?
Well, I don't care. I'll tell you my age. I'm 28.
A baby.
And I am very lucky because my mom She's also a travel enthusiast. So ever since we were really, really young, we used to travel a lot with her during our summers or Christmas holidays. But then when I graduated from high school, I went to France for 6 months to learn French. And I used this as an opportunity to travel around Europe, and that changed my life a lot because, like when I travel, I feel that my brain is like a sponge and I just start absorbing things from other cultures, and you start like opening your eyes to different possibilities, to different alternatives, to different dynamics. So it grew on me. And then like every summer I will organize a trip to a new country. And when I was in university, in law school, in the middle of it, I went to Madrid also for a semester as an exchange student. And I also travel a lot during the weekends because traveling in Europe is very easy and very cheap. So yeah, I would rather travel instead of like just party and spend my money drinking alcohol or whatever. It's been one of my main priorities in life until this year.
Okay. I have to ask though, as an Irishman, is Ireland included in that list of 76?
Unfortunately not. When I was in France, I tried to go to Ireland. But it was very, very complicated for Colombians to get an Irish visa because you have to like send your passport for 2 months to the consulate or embassy or whatever. So I was like, I'm not gonna be like stuck in one place just to go to Ireland if I can just keep my passport and go to other places,
I do not disagree with you on that decision. To be honest, it's something the Irish community here in Colombia, now that we have an embassy and diplomatic relations are improving, that we're trying earnestly to get that changed. Hopefully it will change in the coming years. Let's see what happens, because I do think the Irish Tourism Board is shooting itself in the foot in many ways. Yeah. But anyway, So that gives us an idea of, I guess, how you got into the traveling and 76 countries, which I take it, well, most of them are in Europe, but you also got to Asia and North Africa, the Middle East, and that's where your tour company, if I can call it that, your travel company, it specialized in tours to the Middle East, did it, or to the Far East?
Well, actually, more like Southeast Asia, well, mostly Asia. I also run some tours in Africa, and if I have clients that want to go to Europe, I would gladly organize a trip for them to Europe, but I don't feel very useful when it comes to Europe because it's very easy to navigate, like I like to offer my clients an added value and like be able to advise them on things that it's harder to get information about,
And obviously, I guess that the cultural differences that come with Southeast Asia or maybe in Africa, that's where your expertise and knowledge would come into play. But then, so we'll bring it to now, because I know you're going to kind of go back because you got a lot of inspiration from your travels that helped you start off this rather, for me, strange business in these times. But you're back in Bogotá with no sign of traveling picking up again due to the coronavirus pandemic, and you got some inspiration to start off this new business, which you can tell us about.
Yeah, it's funny because when the whole pandemic started to go crazy and like countries started to shut their borders, I was with a group of travelers in Japan. So we had to rush back to Colombia before they closed the border, and we were like living on the streets in Japan. So that was like the I don't know, like the beginning of the inspiration for this new business. When I came here, at the beginning I was very expectant of things to go back to normality sooner than later. But when I realized that this was not gonna happen, and like that I couldn't just like sit down and wait for the countries to open their borders and the coronavirus to just disappear, I decided to start a new business, like to get some income while I was here. And since I had my experience like very, very fresh from like the Japanese trip, you know that in Japan and also like in mostly every country in Asia, people never wear their shoes inside of their homes, right?
Yeah, it's true. Well, I have to say as well, Laura, if my mother is listening, she was very strict on that too, that we don't go into our house with the shoes on. But that's because we lived in the country and we'd usually be coming in with big muddy boots. So, but my mum would do that as well. But yeah, for sure, it's more like expected in Japan and most Asian countries.
Yeah, and you know, like I started reading about it because I was like questioning myself, why don't we have this tradition here? You know, it makes a lot of sense in many aspects. Like you can keep your house cleaner if you don't wear shoes inside your house. Mm-hmm. Also, like a energetical point of view, like you are not bringing the filth from the streets or
the negative energy from maybe outside and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started reading about it and I was like, oh, this sounds really nice. And at the same time, I knew about this welder that he was out of work. He wasn't making any money. And I was like, maybe I can help him, giving him work, and then I can also make some income if I just like design this really cool and simple shoe rack, and I try to sell it online on some like Facebook groups in which there are a lot of entrepreneurs selling their products. So I executed the idea, and it was very, very well received. I sold a lot of shoe racks in the first month. I also did some slippers. And I was telling people like this is a beautiful idea from like the Asian philosophy, but this will also keep you safe and comfortable when you're in your house. So this was the main idea for this.
Right. I didn't realize you had slippers as well along with the shoe racks. A kind of a package offer.
You start selling the accessories, so people have to buy a lot of things from you.
That's the difference between you and me, I guess. You know, you've got the entrepreneur's head on you, very well screwed on. Obviously, the zeitgeist in terms of now people are more concerned about hygiene and taking off their shoes being one of the things because either that people are spraying their shoes when they go into different premises or houses. So I guess that it was a good idea at the right time as well. But we're in a city where there's a lot of poverty. So I'm guessing this is aimed at a particular market, as I mentioned in the introduction.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I would have thought that, well, for example, people now who are worried about their future, that maybe investing in a shoe rack. Now, because to me that just sounds very kind of bland and ordinary. But I guess these are pretty decorative things that you have.
Yeah, and actually, I also started designing other things for homes, because you know the name of my brand is Okaeri, which is a Japanese word for welcome home.
Ah, okay.
So I started with the shoe racks, but I then thought about exploring other things. And I started selling also marble tables, which is also very decorative and it's not a priority right now. But people right now are spending a lot of time in their homes and they're starting to realize like the importance of being in a place that fills them with, I don't know, peace or joy or that you have it organized and clean so you can focus while you travel, while you work at home. So it is a little vain right now, but it's what people are looking for, you know, and that's I guess that's the entrepreneurial blood.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I mean, the other side of it is, of course, I said that maybe nowadays people are worried about their future, but those who have work, and there are a lot of people, again, probably in the upper stratos of Bogotá, the richer folk, whose work hasn't changed that much, and they're still earning the same amount of money, and they've nothing to spend it on because they can't travel. They might have taken about 3 or 4 different holidays this year, and they've taken none. So they actually have more disposable income compared to last year. So I guess you're tapping into that as well. Like people have money to spend.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see opportunities in the crisis. Like I told you before, I was reading this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's just it's just that when people are fearing about their future and about their jobs, what entrepreneurs do is just try to find opportunities in the crisis, and I mean, I'm not saying like this is gonna be the business of the year, but at least I'm doing something and I'm moving forward. I'm not staying stuck waiting for things to go back to normality, because to be honest, we don't even know if we're gonna go back to normality. So
right.
if the rules of the game change, well, we have to change our moves, right?
Exactly. Well said, Laura. That's the saying of the year, really. And as you said, there's no guarantee that it's gonna go back to normal or the new normal. But that new normal could be quite different to what we had just 6 or 7 months ago. Just in terms of the marketing, though, was it complete? Obviously online, but then are you well enough connected? Because even if you go online, there's so much noise, competition, different things to get noticed. Was it like kind of word of mouth at the beginning?
Well, I'm in a couple of groups on Facebook, but like they have a lot of members. But it is true what you say. Like there are tons of people selling shoe racks because they used to do that before the pandemic. So it is hard. I guess that right now, what I'm like the added value of my product is the design, because some shoe racks are like they're perfectly usable, but like they don't have like the design or the the story behind the brand. Like one time when I started my travel agency, I saw this video. I don't remember the guy that was giving the speech, but this is something that I kept in my mind for all of my businesses, and it's like sometimes it doesn't matter what you're selling, but why you're selling it. Was it like that? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, sure, exactly.
So right now, like we have a lot of alternatives when it comes to almost any product. Like even for trips or clothing or whatever. Like there are a gigantic amount of possibilities, and I feel that nowadays, with all the noise, what matters the most is the story you're selling, not even the product, but the story you're selling. And for example, what I do with my products is that I give my clients a postcard, like thanking them for buying this product and telling them that thanks to this, they are supporting Colombian entrepreneurs, like telling them that the product they're buying is Colombian, so this is going to help push the economy forward in spite the circumstances,
Yeah, and tapping into that Colombian nationalism, which is quite strong as well. So very, very clever indeed. I have to ask as well, though. I'm guessing, Laura, the startup costs were relatively low with this. That you didn't really need to invest that much money to get the ball rolling, so to speak. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. It is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit that I'm a bit risk averse. So I started like promoting the product, and I took like the first orders, and people paid me before I told my guy to do the product, so I was not risking a lot of my own money. Yeah. Making money without money.
Wait, yes, very good. It's actually, as somebody was saying to me the other day, it's what the airlines are doing right now. They're still selling flights for September leaving Colombia, which I think the dogs on the street know that no international flights are going to, commercial flights anyway, are going to leave, but the airlines are still taking the money. So the money can sit in their account for a little while, even though they'll probably have to refund it. And I guess you were prepared. If you had to refund the money, you could give it back if some disastrous scenario came about. I'm sure you would.
Yeah.
Of course, yes, of course. Also, though, just to give an idea of your entrepreneurial spirit, this isn't the only business that you kind of run using social media as well. You do another couple of things that even predate this. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it is right. Like when I started my travel agency, I feared that it was not going to take off as fast as I wanted to. So also it was an idea that came to me in one of my travels. In the USA, there's a very strong culture of greeting cards and this kind of things
like birthday cards and things like that as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you've been to like Panamericana or other stores like this, you'll see that here in Colombia we don't have a lot of alternatives like in the States, like they have like a lot of racks filled with greeting cards, and I really used to like that. I used to buy greeting cards in the States, and
sorry to interrupt there, but because you just brought to mind, I think maybe the first year I was here, when I used to send birthday cards back to my nieces and nephews. I've given up now because the post is terrible leaving here, but that's my excuse anyway. But I remember I was in Éxito, so we're talking maybe 2012, and trying to find a birthday card. It was next to impossible. It's improved a little bit since, but just not really part of the culture. But you've changed that a little bit.
Yeah, I tried to, and it was funny because I launched this business in a design fair called Bureau. It's very known here in Bogotá, and it was funny because the reaction of people was like, this is amazing. Like, I've always wanted to have this business because I love greeting cards, but I can't find them anywhere. So I was like, and that was what motivated me at the beginning. I was like, I can't be the only crazy person that buys greeting cards in the States to come here and just keep them on a drawer because she doesn't want to spend them,
Yeah.
So I started this business, and to be honest, I was a little bit reckless with it while I was focused on travel around because, of course, I didn't have enough time to take care of it. But now that I have a lot of free time, as you can imagine, I'm focusing on this business, and it's also beautiful because the why of this business called Inkit, it's that you can share very simple things, like just a greeting card can be even nicer than giving something like material,
Well, exactly, and again, because of the times that we're in, people aren't physically going to see people, to visit people. So again, sending a card or whatever, and it's a nice little touch. And sometimes maybe people worry about, I need to buy X, Y, or Z or whatever for a friend. But sometimes just the simplest thing is the best, and it's the thought that counts, as we say, I guess.
Yes, and I guess that's what we're learning right now. That simple things in life are actually the ones that can give us the most joy. Like we don't have to complicate ourselves and complicate our lives thinking that if we're not traveling the world or doing these extraordinary things, we're not going to be happy. No, we can find joy in simple things. So
It's true, and you can find joy in podcasts and things like that as well, Laura. That's what I'm trying to tell the world, but not enough people are listening to it. But anyway, we'll get there.
They're listening to a lot of podcasts.
yeah, it's trying to stand out from the mad crowd, indeed. Just in terms of the cards, though, just a little curiosity on my own part. When I was younger, I used to love the musical cards. So you'd open up and they'd sing some thing. Do you sell any of those, or are they more kind of basic?
Oh, no, they're basic. They're paper greeting cards with very cheesy messages.
Do you have any St. Patrick's Day ones, by the way?
No.
But one to think about. You've time. It's not until next March, so you never know.
Yeah, and you've seen that people go crazy in St. Patrick's Day here, right? Have you been
it's growing, for sure.
To the Irish pub with the green beer?
Yeah, in Zonete, well, there's a few of them, but yeah, and the Irish Embassy now that we have an Irish Embassy, well, the idea was to have a parade every year, but of course this year it was cancelled because it was right at the beginning of the coronavirus restrictions. Yeah. But hopefully, let's see what happens in 2021 that we can have another one. But yeah, that's the Irish, or the St. Patrick's Day card is one to think about. Laura, a fascinating chat, and I think you'll be an inspiration for lots of people, as you said, rather than maybe sitting at home and maybe you savings or whatever, but thinking that things will pick up, but you decided to be proactive, and it's been a great little story. Just give us the contact details if people are interested in your shoe racks, and also maybe the gift cards. Where can they find you?
So they can find it on Instagram or Facebook. The shoe racks, the brand is Okaeri, OKAERI.co.
Okay.
And the greeting cards, it's called Inkit Papel, INKITPAPEL.
Well, you have both of those on Instagram, so I can actually probably include a little link on the text that will accompany that podcast. Yeah, check those out. No, Laura, an absolute pleasure, and as I said, a positive little chat. Usually, if we're mentioning coronavirus in any podcast these days, it's something negative, but this was more upbeat. So glad to have you and your enthusiastic voice as well. I think you'll give inspiration. At least that's the hope.
Thank you so much. You're very kind.
Oh, great. Laura Marquez Botero. So as I said, I'll include the contact details for the shoe racks and the gift cards and all that kind of stuff on the text accompanying this. If you do want to get into,
because we will travel again.
Oh, well, yes, we will, of course.
Someday.
That's optimistic.
Someday, somehow.
Exactly. You see, I've nearly given up. I think we will travel again.
Me too. I'm being realistic here. But a lot of clients, like former clients, are texting me all the time, and they're telling me, like, whenever you decide to go on a trip, I'll go with you. Like, it doesn't matter if we're going to Vietnam or to Medellin, but sign me up for it. So I'm like, okay.
I'll tell you what, Laura, we'll strike a deal then. As soon as we can travel again, and if you need an Irishman that can talk the talk, anyway, I'm not sure if I can walk the walk, you can bring me along. That can be my payment. Looking forward to it. Yeah. I'm going to get on to I was going to get on to President Duque to open up, but it doesn't really matter what he does. It's all the other countries have to open up as well.
That's true.
Anyway, Laura, an absolute pleasure. Thanks a million for joining us here on Wrong Ways Columbia Cast. If you do want to get in touch with the podcast, you can find me on Facebook. It's at Wrong Way Corrigan blog, and on Twitter at WA Corrigan. But until the next time, ciao, ciao.
Ciao.